And a beautiful morning it is. Sunshine here with you. A very pleasant, happy Wednesday. Well, it's hump day now, guys. From here in, it's all downhill. Well, look, I want to welcome you into the hottest spot in town where we talk about the conversations that are difficult to have. This is the place where you can speak about it and be safe. So listen, tune in today because it's not going to be any exceptions. Today, we are really going to go deep because you've seen what's happening in the news. You see what's happening in America. You see what's happening all over the world. And I am so happy. I had to call Derrick back and I said, look, Derrick, I got to have you back because of the fact there's so many things that's happening that we're going to talk about today. Want you to feel free that you can be a part of this conversation at 850-432-7768. You can call or text because this is where, like I said, you can feel comfortable talking about those difficult situations. And today, I don't want to waste any time because it just flies by so fast. And Derrick, thank you for getting up, coming in with me again.
Problem. Thank you for having me again.
Oh, of course, because you know you're so filled with knowledge, and I just have to get that because now Derrick is the chairman of
the Escambia County Democratic Party.
Yes, he is, and he's filled with knowledge. And listen, I want you to understand, we're not here trying to just sway nobody. We just want everybody to know the truth.
Right.
We're talking about truth that surpasses everything.
Right.
And you know, I got to bring up Kamala Harris. And I mean, this is the day.
A lot has happened in this last week, right?
I mean, in the last week, look at this. You were here, what, 2 weeks ago?
Just a week.
A week ago. And then look at this. Today I had to call him back because of the things that have changed. And my prayers today are with President Biden because I hope that his health, because I know he had COVID again.
He's been diagnosed with COVID.
Yeah, diagnosed with COVID again. But I just hope that he's okay. And I pray God just take care of him because he has done well.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's my opinion. So I'm entitled to what I believe. And
I echo that. Yeah.
And of course, today now we're going to be talking about how excited you were when you heard about Kamala. She's running now for president.
Yeah, you know, just to circle back before we get there, to your point, I do absolutely think that we should all celebrate and commend President Joe Biden. You know, certainly our thoughts and prayers are with him as he recuperates from COVID and gets back onto the mend to leading this nation throughout the rest of his term. We absolutely celebrate his tenure, his legacy. He has done phenomenal things for this great nation, from leading us out of the pandemic,
right,
to returning our economy around, and then securing our place on this world stage. So his legacy will be intact, and the fact that he had the foresight and bravery to put the country over what his own personal desires were.
Right.
We absolutely commend and celebrate his leadership. And having said that, we are absolutely ecstatic, thrilled beyond, no word can really describe the excitement that we feel that Madam Vice President Kamala Harris will bring to the top of the ticket as the Democratic nominee for the President of the United States. We absolutely know without a shadow of a doubt that she will be victorious. You can see it in the energy. We talk about her fundraising.
Yep.
She made
in
the
just
announcement.
A few days.
From the point that she made the announcement, she has raised the most amount of money in history.
In history.
Not just in the last 20 years, not in 50 years or 100 years. In history, in a 24-hour period, we have seen the nation come together and say, let's do this. The Democratic Party, from a national standpoint, from the time that she is announced, has added 50,000 volunteers to across the nation to help get the message and get Madam Vice President Kamala Harris elected. There's an energy that cannot be contained.
Exactly.
It is coming, and we've seen it here locally. Our office has never been more busy. The phone has never rang as much as it's
It is now?
And locally, we've had about 45 new volunteers to say, sign me up. How can I help? What can I do? We want to get Kamala Harris elected to the office of the presidency. So I have absolutely no doubt, you know, that this will come to fruition. She will be the first female president, the first Indian American president, first black woman president.
Yes.
It is absolutely historic, groundbreaking. The ticket lineup, everything is just absolutely astounding, and we are excited about it.
Exactly. I mean, and it's so behooving because just a week ago we were talking something else,
right.
and now today we're saying we're celebrating that she's running.
Right.
And let me say this because I want people to feel free, even if you don't agree with us. Call us.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got to be able to talk about.
Right.
If we don't conversate, I don't think we've moved anywhere.
Right.
You know, and you've got the right to feel what you feel. I've got the right to feel what I want to feel. Of course, Derrick's got the right,
Absolutely.
and the entire nation got the right to feel what they want to feel.
Right.
But here's an opportunity. You want to share your thoughts. Now, you can do that by calling us today at 850-432-7768, or you can text. The reason why I want to say that before I say this, because I see now, even with the things that I'm reading, I see where there are so many people out there killing social media. And what I'm saying is, though, people that I didn't think, there are things I'm reading that's blowing my mind. But now, you've got the right to do what you want to do. But the fact of it is time for us to move this country in a different direction.
Yeah.
It is time for us to do something, and I thank God, I mean, for what's happening now. Who would have thought? And that in my lifetime.
Right.
In my lifetime,
You've seen
Derrick,
two things.
I've seen two things
right.
that I never thought I would see in my lifetime on this earth. And now look at this, you know, but God, He has, and there's a plan. But also, I want to chip in. I know we're talking about Kamala, but I want to start in with this, Derrick, because I got to say it because it's on my heart.
Right.
And I think this is so painful, and I'm talking about the fact that I see so much racism. It is coming out now bold. The young lady this past weekend called for help and was shot in the face. How do you think, what am I trying to ask? What do you attribute that boldness from that person to do that?
Well, you know, so what I will say, that the former president, Donald Trump, has given license and the ability for those who have harbored this racism and ill will towards people of color to express it verbally and act it out in a physical manner. Since he became president, and since I will even say before then, since he announced his candidacy back before the 2016 election, we've seen an uptick in this aggression, this level of racism, you know, and what's surprising, I honestly don't think it ever went away.
I don't either.
I think it was just covered, right? And what he has done is given people the freedom and the emboldenedness to say it out loud and act upon it with reckless abandon. You know, it's to the point now where we have to turn this country in a different direction. You know, I'm hoping that this nation will prove to us that they are not as racist, and the undergird of misogyny and racism can be overcome in this election cycle. I mean, it is up to the fact that you can call 911 because you are concerned that someone has broken into your house, and then a member of the police force come in who is supposed to come in and protect you and make sure that all is okay, turns around and shoots you and takes your life is is beyond words. And then to listen to what he was saying on the body clip,
did you hear that?
She's crazy on this B word, this. You know, it is absolutely astounding. He showed absolutely no remorse. I think he was fine with what he did. And we've seen this cycle. And we've seen this cycle repeat over and over and over again. It's time for a change.
Exactly.
People, you know, and what I'm, you know, it's sad because I'm not sure, you know, if I'm honest, I don't know that it will ever go away. What I am hoping and praying for is that people in this election cycle will put their racism aside just for a second, will put their misogyny aside just for a second, and vote in a manner that represents their best interests. Because this constant attack on people of color, on anything that is not heterosexual, white, and male has to stop.
I agree.
It absolutely has to stop.
I agree. And you know, and as you were speaking, Derrick, I still don't understand why. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to understand why.
Yeah.
If I could comprehend why, I'll never forget there was a show that I watched. It was years and years ago. Remember the talk show Donahue? There was I think it was Minister Louis Farrakhan was on the show.
Yep.
And the statement was made, and I often think about that. That's been a long time ago. That there's a fear. Maybe what was done to will come back. But we're not that kind of people.
No.
We're not that kind of people. It bothers me. And you know, it's amazing. Amazing wouldn't be the right word. It's behooving that today in 2024 we're having this conversation. That is sometimes you fear. You don't know what may happen, and just how, because you see how things are coming out, how they are coming against us, and why. I don't understand that. And that's why it's so utterly important. Even in this, you got the primary election, even with your local elections, when we say that this is your way of being powerful,
This is absolutely.
this is how we've got to be powerful as a people. You were talking about the call that came on, the Zoom call that was on this past weekend. And give me those numbers again so people understand.
So what happened, once Vice President Kamala Harris announced that she was going to be running, or rather I should say President Biden passed the torch to her. There were a group of black women in the organization they formed, Win with Black Women, that got together to do what they could to make sure that they rallied the troops, so to speak, for Vice President Kamala Harris. And what started with a small call with just a few people ballooned into a national call for black women that ended up resulting in about 44,000 black women on Sunday night on a Zoom call. They were there for several hours. I remember talking to my mother at about 12, and she's like, "We're still on." I'm like, "It's 12:30." Like, good God. Which means it's 1:30 Eastern time, because they had a lot of heavy hitters. There were individuals like Angela Rye, Donna Brazile, who you may remember from the Obama administration, Jennifer Lewis, the legendary Jennifer Lewis. They had people all over. And as a result of that 3-hour call and those 44,000 black women, they had donated $1.5 million to the campaign for Kamala Harris. And black men said yesterday, or on Monday, they said, "Oh no, you're not leaving us out." So on Monday, there was a call with the same type of call that was hosted by Roland Martin and the Honorable Michael Blake, who used to be the DNC vice chair a couple of administrations ago. That call had about 53,000 black men who were registered, and they raised $1.3 million. and the cycle is continuing. It's funny. There's now a call happening tonight, I believe, for white women. It's Win with White Women. So everybody is getting on board now.
Really?
There is a trend. When I tell you the enthusiasm is loud, it's emboldened, and honestly, I feel like that former President Trump can just wrap it up, because there's not, there's no way to see this level of excitement and think that you absolutely have a chance. People understand what's at stake.
Exactly.
Right? And people know the direction that they want the country to make. We have, under his administration, we regressed. We didn't progress. We absolutely regressed. And when we talk about it, you just touched on it earlier. Let's talk about the culture wars that have been stoked as a result of his presidency. We are talking about assaults on Black history, bans.
Yes.
We are talking about the ban on books. We have talked about this rise in domestic terrorism. We see people in Nashville walking around with flags, selling flags, and on all this stuff that is just unheard of. This is, I would even say, arguably, looks like pre-Jim Crow.
Exactly.
You know, in the times.
Oh, what was that gentleman? Well, I tell you, when you mentioned Jim Crow, they brought me up this one. I think it was. It's been many of the newscasters talking to this gentleman about his Jim Crow statement.
Byron Donalds.
Yes.
Byron Donalds, yes.
Yes.
Black Republican that hails from the state of Florida. Right?
Absolutely.
You know? And you see, like, you know, what I will see, what I hope in my prayer is that in this, those black men and or women who have found their way in the Republican Party will see the vitriol and the hatred that they're espousing on Vice President Kamala Harris in this election cycle, and say, wait a minute.
That's right.
Before I am a Republican, I am
a black. That's right.
And this is unjust and it's unheard of. And I think they're going to start losing, because this is crazy. These people have talked about the vice president whose qualifications are unmatched.
Tell me about it. You hold that thought right there. We got to go to the break, okay? Because when we come back, we're going to go back to these qualifications, and that's why I hope they have a debate. Right. Anyways, stay close. We're going to be back with Derrick Scott. We've got so much information to share today. I want you to be a part of this conversation. Don't fear it. If you're angry, don't fear it. Call us, 850-432-7768, and be a part of it right here, Sunshine's Corner on Blab TV.
Empire Truck Sales, located at 2255 West Detroit Boulevard in Pensacola, is your Freightliner, Western Star, Detroit Diesel, and Cummins dealer for Northwest Florida. Open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., providing sales, service, and parts. Empire Truck Sales is also your Oasis dealer for Freightliner custom chassis RV and motorhome repairs. Running I-10 will get you in.
Many who consider facial plastic surgery are concerned their results will look unnatural. But with over 20 years of serving the Pensacola community, his thousands of satisfied patients have made Dr. Derrick Jones a trusted reconstructive and facial plastic surgeon known for industry-leading results that look natural. Call 850-484-FACE to schedule a consultation at one of our locations in Pensacola and Gulf Breeze.
I'm Dr. Derrick Jones. Trust your face to a facial plastic surgeon.
Lloyd's Glass and Correct Calibration Services is a one-stop shop because you can come get your windshield replaced, and right behind that replacement at the same appointment, we will calibrate the cameras, and when you leave, everything's ready to go. There's no need to go to the dealership, or there's no need to come back for another appointment. We just take care of it at one time. We put the customer first, and we strive to do everything right the first time.
Lloyd's Glass and Correct Calibration Services, your one-stop shop with same-day service.
Animal Allies is looking for volunteers, and there are many ways that you can help. From taking care of cats to using your computer and social media skills, any and all assistance is greatly appreciated. We have morning and afternoon shifts every day or help at adoption events. You could even foster a kitty at home. And it counts towards community service hours for bright futures. Find Animal Allies Florida on Facebook and Instagram, or go to aaflorida.org/volunteer.
And welcome back to the hottest spot in town. We're talking about, of course, and you know this, I welcome you in to Sunshine's Corner. And of course, today we have Derrick Smith in with me again, Scott in with me again today. Why did I say Smith?
Yeah, that's okay. It's Scott. Yeah.
I mean, he's back in with us today because it's just unbelievable, the conversation we're having. Had not planned to have it today, but I couldn't pass it up. I could not pass it up. And I want to bring this up too. This is one thing also I wanted, do you remember this when candidate Trump past statement was about the intentions regarding this presidential power. How, you know, and I think that all reverts also into Project 2025. And we need to talk about that.
Absolutely.
Because there's some points in there. I don't know whether you've gone, you can easily look it up. If you key in Project 2025, you got it. It's going to go. But what are your thoughts on things that you want to bring up about that?
Yeah, so, you know, what we want to understand, to your point that you made, President Trump has outlined what he plans to do
Yes.
once he takes office, right? And that is, number one, he's going to be a dictator. He didn't infer it. He didn't imply it. He said it.
He said it.
That is what he said. Those are his words that he said. And it's evidenced because we know that the Heritage Foundation has developed and devised a plan that goes into effect day one if he were to resume as president of these United States. And that's Project 2025.
Right.
People need to understand exactly how dangerous that is and what's at stake for them should he take office. We live in Northwest Florida. In Northwest Florida, there are about 9 military installations, and we have a very large veteran population here. Starting day one, those veterans will lose their benefits that they've worked and sacrificed and given their sometimes their body and their time and their lives and their careers for. That goes away. We're talking about the privatization of Social Security. We have been fighting. The conversation around expanding benefits for veterans has been something ongoing. The last thing that we should be doing is taking them away.
Absolutely.
Project 2025 takes them away. We talk about the privatization of Social Security, people losing what the right refers to as entitlements. Those things are stripped at day one. We talk about people who are work for the federal government. Those, if you have donated $1 to a candidate who is not Republican, they have that information in whatever years of service you have in your roles. That goes away because you're fired. Let's talk about the children, and this is the one that strikes me the most. There are a lot of things, but this one stands out because I don't think people are paying attention to it. If you know, in Congress, they recently reenacted the draft, right? So, and this is in preparation for Project 2025. If President Trump is successful in his bid for the former President Trump is successful in his bid for the presidency in the White House, they are going to pass and enact, he will sign into executive order that will make all graduates of public school immediately test and go into military service by doing the military service entrance exam. Those who are in private school are exempt.
Oh, I wonder why.
So what does that tell you, right? Anybody in public school has to take and more than likely will be called up for service into the military. Irrespective of the fact that you have college plans, you may have a plan to go to the University of Florida, go Gators like I did. You may have a plan to go to fill in the blank, FAMU, whatever the case may be. That's all gone because you now have to sign up for the military selective service exam as a graduate of a public school. Private school students are exempt. Why? Because private school students, from an overwhelming majority, are not black and brown. Public school students are. Now, when we look at this, how this puts us, how this relates to us in the state of Florida, we know that last year in 2023, Governor Ron DeSantis passed into law the voucher program that allows anybody, any student who currently matriculates to public school to apply for the voucher or scholarship that allows them to go to a private or charter school, right? Leaving those who don't have the financial means, even after the scholarship, to afford private or charter schools to go to those schools, right? What that shows us is one, dismantling of public education. So the students who are moving or flocking to these private and charter schools are white students, leaving black and brown students in public schools. So they're taking the money and oftentimes can stay and there.
And the other one,
and the other people
you.
who are there, right? So that moves them. They've given them the financial assistance to go to private schools, because let's be clear, the bill that was signed by Governor DeSantis is not a help for all students. It is to give rich students not of color, their parents, the ability to have a break on the tuition as they pay for these private schools. That's what that's entitled to do. So that leaves those who can't afford it back. We fast forward this as they matriculate through public school and then graduate from said public school. They could be the valedictorian.
Wow.
Doesn't matter. You have to you have to go through the military entrance exam. That is absolutely mind-boggling to me.
I agree.
The fact that you would force someone to do this. So we're not in a situation, thankfully, because of the leadership of President Biden and other great presidents that have come before him, not including Donald Trump, that we aren't we're not forced in a situation where we're being called to war. But the fact that people who look like you and I, who may have a future that could help fight issues like cancer, the AIDS and HIV epidemic, any of these things that are plaguing Americans that could be derailed because they have to serve in the military and that wasn't their intent.
Of course.
Is absolutely
So it's going back to like it used to be when they were drafted and all that good stuff, right? Just a different term.
Just a different term.
Just a different term is all it is. Ladies and gentlemen, it is crucial that we as a people come together to do what we need to do, and that is by casting your vote. And I really want us to talk to our younger people, the teens and the younger ones now. Let's make sure they understand Project 25 and make sure that when they're out there, vote, people. This is what we got to educate people on to motivate them most, because I hear a lot of, well, from the choices we had before now, there's nobody, I don't think I'm going to go either way.
Right.
But how can we motivate people to make sure that they get out and exercise their rights?
Yeah, I think it's imperative to understand what for young people, I too heard that, prior to the passing of the torch, that, I don't want to, from a younger perspective, I don't want to vote for either one of them.
Right.
That does us no good, right?
Right.
I think what's important for young people to understand is that the luxuries and privileges that they have right now, that they're enjoying, will cease to exist, and they don't understand the repercussions of not voting. Let's start with that, because a non-vote is essentially a vote for Donald Trump.
Exactly.
Right?
Let's say that again. A non-vote,
or you abstaining from voting at the top of the ticket, or not voting at all, is a vote that is cast on behalf of Donald Trump, right? So we have to understand what that means and how that affects you as a young person. It is absolutely mind-boggling to me that someone would want to stay home, but I think we haven't done a great job of educating what that importance is. When we look at it, we've taken civics out of the classroom.
But of course.
Students don't necessarily grow up understanding what that is.
Like we did, we were taught.
And then when you look at it, students nowadays, or young people nowadays, their educational experience has been wrought very differently from what ours was. There are a generation or a group of students who live with school shootings, who lived through a pandemic.
Yes.
Those things did not necessarily affect us, as we went through matriculated. So their outlook is very different. So we have to understand what that is and what that looks like, but understanding what we can do to prevent it. When you look at it, you have to I think if you put yourself in the mindset of a young person, you could say, okay, you've had, if I look at it from a student, from kindergarten to 12th grade to solve gun violence, right? You haven't done so yet.
Right.
What is in it for me that will make me want to go to cast a vote? And I think we have to be able to message to those students, to those young folks, to understand the importance of what we're trying to do, because it's not an immediate fix. It is a long-term fix.
Don't take a while.
But it starts with you going to the ballot box.
When it comes to the younger generation now, the younger people, and with Kamala Harris now, our very strong vice president, running now, she's hopefully going to be, she's running for president.
Yes, she is.
How are the young people reacting to that? Have we been able to see a difference in that?
Yeah,
with the younger?
So I have seen an energy and excitement over these last few days that seem to resonate, that where we see that Vice President Kamala Harris seems to resonate a lot more with
the younger
folks than what we saw with President Joe Biden. You know, I am optimistic that this is going to be great for not only at the top of the ticket, but all the down ballot candidates as well, as we look at the engagement or the voter turnout for this year. I think the primary, hopefully, as we come upon this date is quickly approaching us,
yes,
August 20th, that will be a true test to see exactly what the direction will be in terms of the voter engagement and voter turnout. And that'll give us a little bit more time to say, oh, okay, either this is great or okay, we've got to course correct here. And what can we do between now and November to make sure that we get the engagement that we need?
When we look at this today, and I'm hearing, because I'm looking, I heard something you said earlier, even across the board with the white community, as well as the black community, there's a change that they're leaning toward Kamala.
They are. You know, and I'll be the first person. You said this is a safe space. I'll be the first person. I say it all the time. I continue to say it. I was concerned that, you know, well, let me rephrase. I absolutely am enthralled and have been enthralled for that Kamala Harris will be the Democratic nominee for the President of the United States. However, I have to look at it in my mindset as the chair of the Democratic Party, how other people are going to vote, right? And what this says to either bring voters out or turn voters away. I was concerned that with her being a black female, that our non-people of color weren't going to be supportive.
That was my concern.
As you know, I was like, oh, okay, how are we going to do this? Because as much excitement as communities of color have about this is going to take a coalition. Everybody's got to coalesce.
Everybody got to come aboard
around and get on board and vote for Madam Vice President Kamala Harris to win the presidency. I was concerned, but these last few days, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe maybe there's not. You know, there and like I said, we still, now I understand, and I'm being truthful. We live in Escambia County, right? So I'm cautiously optimistic that Escambia County will come out, you know, prove me wrong, but I'm hoping that they will come out and do what they need to do to make sure that Madam Vice President secures the presidency, because we need the progress of another 4 years that President Joe Biden has started with us.
I understand totally. And ladies and gentlemen, my next goal is I want to have someone from the Republican Party, and of course, from the Democratic Party, a round table right here. I want to be able to have that conversation. And I have reached out to certain people, but I can't get a return call.
All right.
And I want that because I like I said, this is a safe place. So I want everybody to know that you can come talk to me. But we're just going to ask and we're going to talk openly, because the conversation should be open.
Right.
And not that invitation for whomever they know who they are. They know they've seen my name. I've reached out to them, but I can't get a return call. But listen, everybody, we are talking today of something that's utterly important, because November is right around the corner. And of course, August 20th right here is a few weeks away. It's not far at all. You make sure that you have all the knowledge you need. Educate yourself on everything that's out there you need to be educated on, and do not overlook Project 2025.
Absolutely.
Stay close. We've got more coming to you right here on Sunshine's Corner. Need a new outfit for a special occasion? Look no further than Viola's Men's Apparel. Viola's has been providing the latest styles and accessories in Pensacola for over 20 years now. We have clothes for every occasion, and we offer consultations and group discounts. You can trust that our care, quality, and class will be unmatched. Viola's Men's Apparel, for all of your menwear needs.
This is Wayne at Icon Automotive in Robertsdale, Alabama, and I wanted to tell you more about our powertrain warranty forever. It comes with any vehicle we sell that has 80,000 miles or less at no additional cost to you. We put our vehicles through a tough safety and mechanical inspection before it can have the powertrain warranty forever, giving you a peace of mind with your purchase. This warranty is good anywhere in the country, and it covers 100% of parts and labor with no mileage limit, and is covered as long as you own the vehicle. Come pick out your dealership car at non-dealership pricing with a powertrain warranty forever at Icon Automotive.
Watch a new episode of Crime Stoppers Wanted Fugitives every Friday at 6 p.m., hosted by Sergeant Melanie Peterson and David Craig. Your tips may be eligible for a cash reward, featuring items about officer training, various aspects of police work, and crime prevention information. You'll hear about upcoming family-friendly engagement events as well. Don't miss Crime Stoppers Wanted Fugitives every Friday at 6 p.m.
Go back to being a kid again. Head on over to Bubba's Sweet Spot. We've got house-made caramels, fudge, pralines, marshmallows, and lots and lots and lots and lots of chocolate. Looking for more traditional candy? We've got you. Our walls are covered head to toe in all the classics, from taffy to gummies and lollipops to gumballs. And don't forget our ice cream. With endless toppings and dipped cones, we've got what you're craving. Let us take you back to a time when every problem could be solved with candy. At Bubba's Sweet Spot.
And welcome back to Sunshine's Corner on this Wednesday. And I want to reiterate something I just said too, Derrick, because I want people to understand this. I want to hear from everybody. Mm-hmm. That's why I always tell you, it is a safe place to have that conversation. And yes, I've reached out to the Republican Party. Mm-hmm. I want you to come sit and talk. I'm scheduling now. I'm trying to put together a round table. I just can't do the round table. Only the Democrats will show up. Right. So if the Republican Party wants to come and be a part of this, please answer my call or call the studio here and let me know that you want to be a part. I want to hear from you. This is what it is. We can conversate.
Yeah, let's have a discussion.
Let's have a discussion.
Absolutely.
It's good to have a discussion. And I want to invite you. My doors are open for you. Just reach out to me. I'll make it happen. I think we had a phone call. I almost forgot.
All right.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning, Sunshine. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
I have a question for Mr. Derrick Scott. How you doing, Mr. Scott?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing pretty good. So apparently yesterday, the Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump campaign filed a complaint with the Federal Election Commission, arguing that the VP Kamala Harris could not legally take over funds raised by presidential Biden re-election campaign. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because they're stating that there may be a campaign financial violation that happened.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I would say is that they're stretching it, right? Mm-hmm. So right now, as we know, the monies have been donated to what is known as the Biden-Harris campaign,
exactly.
Right? Now, their argument would be valid if the Biden-Harris campaign went to, I'll use the Johnson-Jenkins campaign, where there's no one that existed in the original campaign. We're starting from a whole new president and vice presidential nominee ticket. That, from a financial campaign, from a campaign finance regulation standpoint, you cannot transfer those monies that way.
Right.
However, Madam Vice President Kamala Harris is on the ticket and is still in the campaign. So all President Biden has to do is transfer that money to Kamala Harris. It is absolutely legal. We're not concerned. This is their last-ditch effort to try to stop it. But worst case scenario, let's say that there is an issue with it. That's okay. We've seen Madam Vice President Kamala Harris raise in a 24-hour $50 million. If we see that there's a problem, I guarantee you people will rise to the occasion.
Absolutely.
And fill whatever void is necessary, and they will start, we'll start again. So I'm not concerned from a legality standpoint. The monies can be transferred. They're just trying to do what they can to stop
what they're trying to do is bring up something to make put a negative vibe, so that can try to get in the air.
Yeah.
Not gonna work. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, not working.
I mean, and I tell you, thank you, Dr. Martin. Anything else you want to ask?
No, that's it. I just wanted to go ahead and get him to go ahead and speak on it, so that way that we can have a clear mind for the listener, the loyal listeners, so they can already understand that there's nothing to worry about.
Nothing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. Everybody, if you've got questions, we had to get that in the air, and thank God. Look, I told you, this is a wealth of information right here. So if you would like to be a part of this conversation, feel free. It's a safe place where you can talk at 850-432-7768, or you can text. I prefer you call. And I truly invite the Republicans to call. It's a safe place right here. Let's talk what we need to talk about. We're educating. We're empowering. All of that right here today on Sunshine's Corner, and that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
And Derrick, I want to go back to talking to the youth, what we got to do to get their mindset and to get them to totally understand just because somebody has a record.
Right.
That doesn't mean that you communicate, that you relate to me, because you've been, that's what happened when did the thing in Georgia at the barbershops.
Right. There's been what we have seen, and this was, I'll say it's been prior to the announcement that Madam Vice President is going to be assuming the role at the top of the ticket. We've seen an uptick, and specifically in young black men saying, I am voting for Trump. And the rationale for that is two things. He has felony convictions, and now, as a result of several weekends ago, he's been shot, or what they believe that he has been shot, right? So that somehow makes him relatable, and the words that they're using is that he has a honorary black card. So I'm voting for him. An honorary black card. Well, what I will say is that I am a black male that does not have a record.
Okay.
And he doesn't relate to me in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So let's start there. And I think it's an offense that we should be personally offended that we lean into that, and they doubly offended that they actually say it out loud.
I know.
We've heard President Trump in his barbershop meetings, in his meetings at the church in Detroit, talk about, I'm like you. I now have a felony conviction. They're persecuting me. No, let's be clear. There are people of color who have been wrongly convicted, targeted, and prosecuted, and they are in jail simply because they were born people of color.
Exactly.
Donald Trump did and perpetuated felonious activities that resulted in him being prosecuted and convicted. He actually worked. Now, we obviously know that there are two tracks from a legal system. There's one that unfortunately that people of color go through, and there's one for the rich and famous. But even still, in this day, he got what was deserved because he perpetuated crimes against this nation and the American people.
Absolutely.
Those two things are not the same, and it's offensive for someone like that to try to assume, you can relate to me because I've gone through the judicial process just like you have. Well, no, I haven't. Sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. And number one, and number two, these two things are not the same. Not to quote Kendrick Lamar, but he's not like us, in this situation.
Right.
So, and then we've got to do a better job of sifting. And for, I don't knock anybody for their political choices. If you
that's your choice.
If you choose to be a Republican, that's your choice, right? But for people of color, I think we have to have a sense of self in this situation to understand who we are and not allow these things to perpetuate and feel comfortable perpetuating them themselves.
I understand totally.
Yeah.
I understand. What should the electoral candidates say to encourage the undecided voter? What do you think that we could say?
So I think what they need to do is, again, we've got to do, the candidates themselves, the party has to do a better job of messaging and understanding and being able to tie an individual, I will say the apathetic voter, the voter who doesn't necessarily either I vote or I don't vote. I don't really care. To understand how this impacts them, if they can tie the voters' life experience, whether it be financial, education-wise, job opportunity, to voting, they will be more inclined to go and do so. People need to understand how their life choices are impacted by local elections, and as well as the federal election. We spend a lot of time talking about the top of the ticket.
Yeah.
But the folks who impact your life on a daily basis are those who, in our case, those who hold office in Tallahassee at the state level, those who are county commissioners, and those who are city council. Those groups of people impact you the most. So you understand, one of my good friends, Jill, she always gives an analogy of a person with a hole in their roof. And, the rain comes in, and they spend their time just trying to juggle where to put the bucket in so that it catches the rain. They don't have time to be trying to figure out all the other stuff, right? So we've got to do a good job of saying, how can I motivate that person to get them off their couch and stop worrying about the bucket, where to put the bucket, so that they go vote to hopefully get the whole patch,
that.
on their roof.
That's good.
It absolutely is good.
It's great. But I tell you, everybody, this is a great conversation we're having today. I invite you to be a part of it. And I'm pretty sure you are stunned to the TV like, wow, you're educating yourself, which is a good thing. Stay close. We're not done yet. We're going to have more with Derrick coming up right here on Sunshine's Corner.
I just remembered it's election day. Are you going to vote?
I don't know. I don't think I'll have time today.
Millions of eligible voters in America never make it to the polls or even register to vote. When you don't vote, you're letting other people make decisions for you and pick the things your taxes will pay for. Voting is more than a civic duty. It gives you a voice about the priorities and the future of your community and our nation. Voting gives you a seat at the table.
Well, I think it's all about local, and I'm a big believer in local. So I think anytime you can carry a message out locally, it's important. And I think it's anytime the person that delivers the service can also deliver the message, which is unusual. You have the people that actually deliver the project doing the talking, and I think that's a huge difference, and really makes a huge value difference for the consumer. So I'm really just so grateful that we have this local opportunity with Blab TV. My name is Quince Dieter, and I am Blab TV.
Hey fellas, my name's Daniel Denny, owner of the Men's Clinic, and if you're suffering from ED and the bedroom has become your worst nightmare, where you no longer have the self-confidence you used to have, it doesn't have to be that way. We can help. You're not alone. We have over a 90+% success ratio with our patients. I'm so confident you'll be pleased with the results that if we can help you, there's no charge for the office visit. I'll personally cover it.
Hello, my name is Eric, and this was my first visit to Little John's. The selection, the pricing here, and the customer service were outstanding. I would definitely recommend. The staff was very friendly, and they'll get you what you need.
Hi, this is John with Little John's Big and Tall here in Pensacola, Florida at 5700 North Davis Highway. Check us out at littlejohnsbigandtall.com, where we can take care of you with extra large up to 14X and large tall to 6X tall.
Here we go. And welcome back to Sunshine's Corner on this Wednesday. I mean, when you got a conversation going like this, it's unbelievable how the time flies. But we're there, but almost, but that's okay. Mm-hmm. We still got a few more minutes to cover things. And it's so much that we have to cover. Mm-hmm. It seems like the clock ticks so fast. I never known an hour to go by as quickly as it does when you're talking about something so important and that is so crucial for the world today.
Yeah.
I'm talking about for everybody. Not just, my concern is not only for just one. I want us all to be equal. Mm-hmm. That is my prayer, that we can all look at each other and stop looking at me because of this. Don't look at me because I'm a brown person or a black person. Look at me as a person, that I have that right to do and not to be torn down. And I don't understand why it is so feel today that it feels like it has to be torn down to try to make us look bad, to make a point. And I wrestle with that a lot because that tells me something about your personality.
Mm-hmm.
That tells me something about your character. Mm-hmm. And so how can we, even with the people and the persons that I think on the one a person called me once and they were talking, oh, well, I'm going to do it because I think I can get this back. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. And with this facade that's being painted now, I want everybody just open up your eyes and see what's really happening and make your decisions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make your decision, but open up your eyes and get a clear understanding of what is before us. And when November comes around, we've got, what, a few months?
Just a few.
Just a few months. And ladies and gentlemen, please, let's not waste this time. And then, because if you don't take, I often tell people that I conversate with, if you don't voice your right to vote, don't talk to me about what if.
Right.
Because you've given up the right to be able to say anything if you don't vote.
Right.
That's just my opinion.
Right.
And how we talk to these people that sitting there still saying, well, I'm not going to do this, or I'm going to go this way because I think he feels like I do. Wrong answer.
Yeah, yeah. I think every year, what's probably different, we continue to hear every election cycle, we hear the term, this is the most critical election cycle.
Yeah.
You got to vote because it's important. Your life depends on it. Well, let's disregard everything that you've heard at every election cycle, that has passed. This, without a shadow of a doubt, absolutely, your life is going to be determined by this election cycle. And we kid you not. Let's move past the culture wars. Let's move past this increase in domestic terrorism, and let's get back to getting this country where it needs to be, where it can be great. Because I arguably will say we're not making it great again because we've not been great.
I say that often.
We have the ability to be great, but we've got to move past those things that hold us back. We are so steeped in what I consider to be it's racism and misogyny, but it's all rooted in fear and ignorance, right? It's because there are people who are scared of retribution in whatever form that looks like.
Exactly.
Or ignorance because we have media outlets and television and film and even radio that perpetuate a narrative of what other people or non-people of color think people of color do. And so we've got to get past and understand for yourself what that looks like. I'm not trying to get back at anybody. What I am trying to do is exist.
Exactly.
And more specifically, exist in my black skin, right? And so what that looks like for me is the ability to apply for a job if needed and not have a comment that, oh, you're a DEI person. No, actually, I'm 4 points from genius if I need to be specific about it, right? But let's talk about it, right?
Tell it like it is.
I want to be clear about what it is. I didn't get to anything because I filled a quota. Actually, I'm smart. I got where I was because I studied, I excelled, and I have the ability to comprehend and oftentimes speak well. So from that standpoint, let's go through that. Let me have the job because I'm qualified. Let's not turn people away because they have an Afrocentric name.
Absolutely.
Let's get past that point. Let's stop having people tell other people what they should be reading because they're unfamiliar or uncomfortable with the subject matter.
Absolutely.
Let's get past that and get back to the business of improving the quality of life for all. And if that is what you want, if you want a better quality of life, if you want economic prosperity, if you want the freedom to read, if you want to be, to quote Florida Democratic House Leader Fincher Driscoll, to have healthy, prosperous, and safe, you need to go out and vote. And more specifically, you need to vote for those candidates that reflect those values. And what you will find is that it will be those who are listed with the Democrat next to their name. We've got some great candidates here locally. From the top of the ticket, what I consider, and unseating Matt Gaetz, which is Gay Valamont, to our those who represent you in Tallahassee. You know, I've said this and I continue to say this. The people in Tallahassee have the biggest impact on your life. So you want the Haley Morissettes, you want the Francine Mathises, you want those individuals representing you in Tallahassee, because they have not just people of color's best interest, they have everybody's best interest. They have people, they are champions and warriors who will fight for everybody to be healthy, to be hopeful, and to have economic advantages. And that's what we have.
Most certainly. And I tell you, Derrick, I can't believe our time is up. It's unbelievable. I could sit here and listen to you every day, all day, because of the fact that you speak with facts. And again, I want to say, I do extend that invitation again to the Republican Party.
Yes.
I would love to have you reach out to me, because I'd love to have you as a guest. Again, a safe place for you, that you can talk about those difficult situations right here on Sunshine's Corner. Let's put together a roundtable discussion.
Absolutely.
And let's talk about these things that we can. Gotta go, but look, you haven't heard the last of it. We'll be doing more, because this is a very much so election coming up, the local, and of course, the great big election is coming up in November. I'm going to leave you, my friends, as I do every single day. Let me remind you that tomorrow we have a storyteller coming in that's going to be talking to you about some great things. Dr. Gaston's going to be my guest tomorrow, and you're going to enjoy that. But I will leave you as I do every single day. Never, ever lose your focus. Always remember to keep God first in whatever you do. I'll guarantee you this: if you put him first, you're going to be a total success. So until tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock for a day of storytelling with Dr. Sharon Gaston, who's coming in to share with us about some books, and the General Chappie James. She'll be in tomorrow. So until then, my friends, know that I love you with a perfect kind of love. Keep shining while I'm gone. And educate yourselves. Educate yourselves. And keep it here on Sunshine's Corner, because we're going to educate you as well. Until the next time, bye for now.